If your feed looks anything like mine today, it's probably this graveyard of like New Year's resolutions. You've got people who are promising to work harder at their jobs that they literally hate, or maybe you've got students who are saying they're going to study more for degrees that they aren't really sure they're ever going to use. Well, as a student myself, as someone who is studying computer science as we speak, I've spent a little bit of my summer break kind of thinking about something else. I've been performing somewhat of a systems audit. Let me explain. In CS, before you optimize a piece of code, you have to look at the environment that it's running in. If the OS, the operating system, is crashing, your optimized code is never really going to matter. It's 2026, and I've realized that this global operating system, this global kind of environment, system, game that we live in, whatever you want to call it, it is running on legacy software from the 70s. I mean, it goes from the way we learn to the way we earn to the way we save. Everything is buggy. It's permission heavy and it's losing data. This is its biggest problem. Welcome back to the Orange Peel Podcast. I want to start this off by wishing everyone a very, very happy new year. I am so excited to be going into 2026 with all of you. And I am so grateful for everyone who has been following since August of last year. I think we've managed to build something that is really just incredible, and I'm so grateful. So huge thank you. And I really hope that what I've got in store for 2026 is something that you guys are going to like, because I'm very excited to keep going with the content. That being said, today I'm hitting record to explain why I'm opting out of the standard resolution cycle that we as humans go through every single New Year's. And I want to explain why instead I'm treating 2026 as kind of like a system reset. I want to talk about auditing the degree, the dollar, and this AI explosion that we saw in 2025, and kind of compare it to the only logic that actually holds up. Which, spoiler alert, it is Bitcoin, but I think if you've been around on this channel long enough, you would have had that answer by now. But without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start with the degree. I love CS. I love code. I just want to start this out by saying that. I am not saying that, I think it's absolutely useless. I think it's just a changing industry. I love building, and this is what I want to focus on. We have to be honest about the incentive structure of university. A degree is essentially a permissionless database entry. I mean, I think that's the best way to think about it. You pay 6 or 7 figures for a central authority to write your name into this private ledger that says certified, that gives you permission to go out into the world and get a career and get the job you want. And it's basically this piece of paper that says, yes, companies can trust that you know your stuff. You are effectively a file who is waiting for like a read-write permission from a corporate HR department. I mean, it is ridiculous, and it is not representative of the AI world, of the AI economy. When I first started college in 2024, in fact, even when I was thinking about studying computer science back in 2023 in my senior year, knowing how to code, knowing how to write a Python script was a moat. It was a lifeboat. And we saw this in COVID as well. If you knew how to code, your value was protected. But things changed last year. And I think as we head into this new one, we need to realize that LLMs aren't just these chatbots anymore. They're autonomous architects. And if your only value is the fact that you have this verified file, this piece of paper that says companies can trust you from a university, you are a depreciating asset. AI has commoditized technical skill almost entirely. In systems terms, basically our generation is being sold a closed source file. We're told to wait for permission to be valuable. But I think in a world full of AI abundance, the only thing that remains scarce is sovereignty. If you aren't using these tools to build your own permissionless value, you're just a legacy file in an AI world. If the degree is just a ticket to earn money, if it's just a ticket to kind of get a job and like build a life for yourself or whatever, we have to ask, what is the money that we're working for in the first place? And this is the orange peel moment that I think broke my brain a little bit. Money isn't just wealth. Money is an information system. In fact, it's just an information system. It's a ledger that we use to track who produced value for the community. Gold was a physical ledger. It was decentralized. It was very analog. I think you couldn't send a gold bar over a fiber optic cable in milliseconds. In fact, I did a video on fiat versus gold last year, which you should check out if you haven't yet. But moving into fiat, which is the other money system that we have, it is a digital ledger. It's fast, but it has a massive security vulnerability, and that vulnerability is the admin. Imagine if you were building a project, and let's say your teammate had super user access or something on GitHub, and they could edit the balance variable in the code or in the database whenever they wanted to without your consent. You'd probably quit that team almost immediately. And honestly, this is exactly what central banks do. Every time that they print money, they are performing an unauthorized push to production that dilutes the value of every hour that you've just spent studying or working, every labor that you've done. Inflation isn't just prices rising, it's the money ledger being hacked by the admin. The central banks, the governments, the Federal Reserve, whatever you want to call it, your choice. It's hacking. And this is where my 2026 vision comes in. We are going to be using AI to build wealth and protecting it with Bitcoin. So think of AI as the ultimate abundance protocol. I think that's a great way to put it. It allows one student with a laptop to do the work of a 50-person agency. That is optimizing productivity in a way that we haven't seen ever before. This is how we create digital assets out of thin air. It is how we build, especially as a generation. But if you continue to build in a buggy currency like the US dollar, you're building on sand, you're building on shaky ground. That's why we need Bitcoin. It is the ultimate scarcity protocol. It is the only ledger in the universe that has no admin, that is completely decentralized. Nobody can edit your units. In a world where AI can fake your voice, your face, and your code, the only thing it cannot fake is the proof of work that is required to mine a Bitcoin block. It is the only hard constant in a world full of these digital hallucinations, which is very insane to think about. But what does a system reset look like for me this year? It basically means I want to stop measuring my success by my GPA and start measuring it by the sovereign systems that I'm building, which means, I want to stop working for dollars, which is a ledger controlled by people who don't know me, and start working for sats instead, which is a ledger controlled by the laws of physics. And physics makes up the entire world. We know this. So for me, 2026 is all about time preference. Our generation is told to doom spend because our money melts because of inflation. But when you switch to a hard money standard, the Bitcoin standard, your brain literally rewires. You start thinking in decades, not just days. You start valuing your future self, honestly. But I am not a guru. I am a 19-year-old student who is studying in Australia, trying to figure things out, and just who realized that the textbook that I was given at the start of college was written for a world that doesn't really exist anymore. 2026 isn't really about resolutions. I think for me, it's about deciding if I want to stay a user in a broken system or be an operator in a new one. So I'm going to make it a point to hit record on every single one of these audits that I want to do this year, be it discovering something new in Bitcoin and wanting to ask questions about it, or, looking at what's going on in the macroeconomic state of the world and then being like, okay, this is what's going on in Bitcoin price. This is why we're seeing so many ups and downs, things like that. If you're tired of the hype and you are just ready to kind of slow down and find that truth with me, then welcome to Orange Peel. I'm so glad to have you here. And this is going to be a really, really great year. And I'm very excited to keep the systems audit, the systems reset going. And honestly, just learn more about Bitcoin, get the message out there, get more people in my generation thinking about why the system feels so broken and the things that we can actually do to fix it. Because it goes beyond just learning about Bitcoin. It goes beyond just being aware. You have to start building the skills. You have to start looking at the tools that we have available, predicting patterns, and working towards a goal. So, as always, If you enjoyed today's episode, hit subscribe. That really, really does help out the channel. It kind of lets me keep this going. And I am a college student, so I will say I can use any help that I can get. Like and subscribe, leave a comment if you liked this one. And as always, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay orange pilled. I'm your host, Nikki, and I will see you in the next one.